About a decade ago, I was in a completely different place in my life. I was lost. I had $8 in my bank account. I was in a very, very low point physically. My body, I did not feel healthy. I was struggling with binge eating. I had eating disorders. I had a really hard time back then. And then I discovered personal development.
And it's literally like, welcome me and this voice and your own voice into this moment that you are going to do regardless of if you do anything.
But truly looking from a bird's eye view, my transformation was a complete 180. I went from $8 in my bank account to now owning a company worth tens and tens of millions of dollars. And that's completely self-made.
This is the Goal Digger Podcast.
So today's guest on the podcast has been living rent-free in my brain and been a part of my everyday life. And it's so cool to actually get to have a conversation. So first, just Mimi, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you so much for having me, Jenna. I am honored that I've been living in your mind.
Oh, so one of the things that I love to talk about, and one of the taglines for me and what I do, is like where the woo meets the work. And a lot of times when I start to talk about this, I am met with skeptics. I think anyone listening might have been a manifestation skeptic at some point of their life, or maybe they are one today. And so what is something about manifestation that people get wrong, or maybe they wrongly assume? Let's start there.
Such a great question. And by the way, so was I. I was a manifestation skeptic, and I've always lent more on the pragmatic, science-based side. The biggest misconception people have with manifestation is that you just have to do the vision board and see with your eyes and think with your brain to visualize, to manifest. That doesn't work that way, or it doesn't work that way. You need to feel it in your body. You need to feel the energy of your future that you desire physically in your body to then help your brain change its own self-image and to then attract what you want in your life. So I talk about self-image psychology a lot, and that's really the science behind this, well, part of the science behind this. And when you feel something inside of you, that is the best way to be magnetic towards what you want. You can't just think it. You can't just see the convertible on your vision board and be like, all right, I did the vision board. Why aren't my manifestations coming true? It's like, you need to feel it, because when you feel it, you will naturally take action. You will naturally change your self-image and adjust that self-image to match your future self. I always say, Jenna, to get what you want in life, you must first become the kind of person that has it. You can't just think it into existence. You need to become it, because when you become it and when you feel it, that's how you actually do the thing.
Yes. Oh my gosh. I couldn't agree more. And I think you make such a good point. People get like so fixated of like, oh, you just make the vision board and then the vision happens. And it's like, if you start to feel it, then you naturally start to work towards it, right? It's not just saying these things will just come to you. You almost move towards them. And I think that it's a really powerful distinction. And it also will make sense to the people who are more logic-based and like trying to think of like, well, what is the science? Now, you have had a really interesting story. You've lived a very different life. Tell me a little bit about how you kind of made this transformation, and what was the biggest thing that truly did help you transform your life from where you were to where you are today?
Yes, absolutely. So about a decade ago, I was in a completely different place in my life. I was lost. I was extremely depressed and low. I had $8 in my bank account. I was working 4 jobs trying to make my first entrepreneurial venture work. I was in a very, very low point physically. My body, I did not feel healthy. I was struggling with binge eating. I had eating disorders. I had a really hard time back then. And then I discovered personal development, and then the story obviously continues for almost 10 years now at this point, but truly looking from a bird's eye view, my transformation was a complete 180. I went from $8 in my bank account to now owning a company worth tens and tens of millions of dollars, and that's completely self-made. I went from hating my body and feeling very uncomfortable, being a bit heavier, and just not feeling aligned with myself, and struggling with these disordered eating patterns, to now living in a body that I absolutely love and adore and treat with so much respect, while being able to intuitively eat whatever I want and not think about food all day. I went from being very lonely and having quite low quality relationships to now I'm getting married to the love of my life and I have the most deep, beautiful relationships around me. I went from a life of feeling very confused, very unfulfilled, very much so like a victim, to now living a life where I know whatever I desire, I can create. I feel so deeply confident and so aligned with the best version of myself. Every area in my life has changed. And it didn't come immediately. My journey has had so many ups and downs. It was not a linear path, but I can tell you the things that have actually helped that transformation happen. And I had to hack the system a little bit, Jenna, because I was trying when I first got into personal development, I was trying everything, all the books, all the mentors, all the, Tony Robbins of the world were telling me to do. And it helped. It definitely did. But it all felt so confusing. It all felt so just like there was too many things to do. I had to wake up at 5 a.m. I had to do the cold plunge. I had to do the meditation. I had to do and it was just so much. And I felt like a failure constantly because I just, couldn't stick to a lot of these things. And it would just be this loop of me trying and me kind of succeeding and then going back 3 steps. So the biggest thing, the best tool, and this kind of shadows what I was saying earlier about becoming the type of person that has what you want. The best tool that I learned to do to create this dream life was teaching myself how to act as if I was already who I wanted to be in everyday moments. So not sitting down to meditate with my eyes closed and then opening them up and being the same person that I was, 20 minutes before. It was genuinely training myself to be my future self in everyday moments. And this is a lot easier than you think. And this kind of led me to creating activations, which is a new type of audio that is designed to help you transform into your future self in everyday moments. And we can talk more about that later, but that's really how I created this new type of audio. It's like visualization mixed with motivational guidance, mixed with the most epic cinematic music that our audio engineer has put together with activations. And how I created this, it was about 6 years ago, so 4 years into my journey. I was, advancing a little bit. I was really into personal development. Certain things were evolving for sure at a slow pace. And then I told myself, okay, Mimi, I need to start meditating because that's what all these experts are telling me to do. Meditating's amazing, they say. You have to do it. It's part of this routine. I tried. I couldn't stick to it. I found it so boring. I just didn't understand how closing my eyes and thinking about nothing would help me reach all of my goals. And I wanted to feel different. I wanted an audio that could invigorate me, make me excited. I didn't need something to calm me down. I wanted to go after my dreams with vigor, with energy. So intuitively, and this is when I was living in my 200 square foot studio apartment in London at the time. I had moved to London in my late teens, just on a whim with no money in my bank. I was like, let's go create a new life, Mimi. And I was sitting in my studio apartment and I was just like, well, I want to visualize and I don't really like meditating and I'm just not the kind of person that could sit down and think about nothing. So intuitively, I took out my phone and I opened the voice memo app on my phone and I just started recording me talking, whether it was affirmations or visualizations, just me talking about my future life, the life I wanted. I would say things like, having $1 million in my bank account feels so good. I feel so grounded. I feel so safe. I feel so blessed. I'm so grateful for the partner that I have. I described him. He has tall brown hair, hazel eyes. He loves me. He's British because I loved British guys. Thank God I moved to London. There were a lot of them there. And I just described the relationship I wanted, the business I wanted, the money, the financial freedom I wanted. Because Jenna, I came from a household of 2 struggling artists that loved me to death but did not have money, and there was always fights in the household around money. There was some serious money issues, bankruptcies, we were always struggling. And my family always put so much stress, around that topic of money. And I felt very unsafe and unsecure with financial abundance back then. So that was one of the main things I wanted to create in my life. So I created these audios and I didn't know what to call them. I would just listen to them while I was cooking breakfast in the morning, while I was walking to the bus stop to get to work, while I was cleaning my room, while I was doing the dishes, just in everyday moments. I just would listen to it instead of a podcast or instead of music. It was when I wanted to feel feel like I was, excited about my future. It's when I wanted to embody the energy of my future self. I would listen to these audios, and after a few weeks, I'd get bored of an audio and then I'd create a new one. And then I was like, how do I even make this better? So at the time, around 6 years ago, I had my own podcast. So I took out my podcast microphone and I would record them higher quality. And then on GarageBand, I would get inspiring music that would like really amp me up and make me feel amazing and alive. And then I'd add that to it. And then, I started just creating all of these audios that I'd listen to. And I'm going to tell you something so honest right now, Jenna. When I started doing this consistently, the trajectory of my life completely changed, okay? I would have to create new ones every week, and I'd have to add different music to keep myself like, you get bored of it after a while. And I did it, and I've stayed consistent, and then things started changing. I started getting these amazing ideas for businesses to start. I started meeting, I met my now fiance the day after I recorded the one describing him, which is kind of a crazy story. And then just everything in my life started getting better and better. I started feeling like me. I wasn't doing the vision boards anymore. This was the one consistent personal development habit that I had, and it changed my life. So, fast forward a few years, and I ended up creating Superhuman, an app that has these activations, is what I came up with to call these audios. They're not meditation. Meditation is meant to clear your mind and calm you. Activations are meant to invigorate you to become your future self. So then I created activations, and it's been almost 3 years now, and the company has grown an insane amount, honestly, mostly through word of mouth. We've just started doing paid marketing, and we can talk about the business side if you want, because I know that's your thing. But we only really started paid marketing about 2 months ago. The business has been around almost 3 years, and we've grown to tens and tens of thousands of subscribers. And it's been people telling people, someone telling their sister, their mom, their cousin about this app that's really changing their lives. We see success stories every day, and it's because we're hacking the system. Yeah. We are not asking you to carve out 20 minutes out of your morning to do this thing that you don't even enjoy really doing. We're just telling you to habit stack this and listen to these inspiring motivational activations in everyday moments. And there is so much science to prove why this is so transformative, and I can get into that if you want. It's just like the Pavlov dog theory. Pavlov rings the bell, the dog salivates. If you're listening to a walking activation every single morning when you're walking to work, soon enough you don't even need it to feel wealthy, confident, inspired, motivated, clear. It's the most amazing hack that I have ever found with manifestation, with visualization. You pair that with feeling it in your body, feeling how it feels to be financially successful, to be in love with life, to have crazy opportunities coming your way. Your whole life is going to change.
Oh my gosh. So word of mouth is so powerful. My sister has been loving and using Superhuman for a very long time. And what was so intriguing to me about it was how you actually incorporate it into our lives. And I think that with so many of the personal development things that are amazing, right? Like they all serve their own place in the way of helping us become better people. So many of us are like, I'm already maxed out. Like I can't add another thing to my plate. And one thing that was so interesting to me about how you set this up, and I knew that there was strategy in it, but honestly, it was smart because people are actually going to use it, is that you created these activations that are a minute long, 3 minutes long, to do while you do your skincare, while you wind down for the evening, while you wash dishes. And it's literally like, welcome me and this voice and your own voice into this moment that you are going to do regardless of if you do anything. And I told you even this morning, I was getting ready for a full day of interviews. And a lot of times I'm like, I don't need other voices, like extra chatter in my life. Like I need to come back to myself. And so as I was getting ready today, I was playing an activation in Superhuman. And
which one did you do?
So cool. I did the newest one. It was the cinematic. Let me pull it up. I'll read it to you so you know. Now,
Jenna, I'd actually love on air, because I haven't even asked you yet. I would actually love to know your honest opinion, because you've started using the app a few weeks ago. Yeah. What do you think about activations?
Okay. Well, I love them. So I was listening to the grounding and powerful positivity. Feel powerful and re-energize yourself with positivity. You can literally see where I was at. And so I love it. And it's so interesting because I, like you, had a very similar experience with meditation in that, like, I have ADHD and like trying to not think about things is impossible. And so I have had good experiences with meditation in just noticing my thoughts and paying attention to them. I think that's step one for many people. Step two would be to activate, right? Once you start noticing your thoughts, you can start to see gaps of where your thinking is off or where you are not even in alignment with who you want to become. And I think you've hit that on its head with these activations. And so it's like in this world where we don't even give ourselves time for ourselves, if we don't even know what thought loops we're on, we can't disrupt them. You are disrupting them with the activations because all of a sudden, you hear this voice that says, like, I have what I want. I feel alive and vibrant and powerful. And it's like the listener has to challenge themselves. Do I feel that way? How do I feel that way? How do I start moving in that way? It's kind of like, have you ever, Mimi, like gone shopping for a new car and all of a sudden you start seeing the car that you were going to want like everywhere because you're paying attention? Activations Jenna, make you pay attention. So like when you tell that story about meeting who you're now going to marry, you were just paying attention because you were already envisioning it. He might have walked into your life 5 days before and you weren't paying attention to it. And so it makes total sense to me.
Okay, you just described the RAS, the reticular activating system. And the red car thing, it's like you already hit the nail on the head here.
Yeah.
That red car thing, me noticing Ben, my now fiance, that's just because my brain was filtering information in a new way based on the new beliefs and the new information I was feeding my brain. So we all have an RAS in our brains, and it essentially acts as a filtration system. Because if we noticed every single piece of information in our environment, our brains would explode. It's way too much information. Yep. So what our brain does in a clever way is it sees what is important to us. It sees our beliefs and it shows us the information in front of us that is aligned with our beliefs, with what we think about consciously. So this happens with the red car, but it also happens in a very deep way. So if you deeply believe that you are a lucky person, that lucky girl energy trend, that we can talk about that since, I was doing this way long before this trend. But, if you deeply believe that you're a lucky person that has opportunities come to you and you are a magnetic force, guess what's going to happen? You're going to start noticing reasons why that is the case. You're going to start noticing that person at the party that has that thing you might want to be involved in, and then you're going to talk to them. You're going to give off this magnetic energy. People are wanting to be around you when that happens. But on the complete opposite side of the spectrum, Jenna, the same thing remains. If you feel like you are a victim, like the world is against you, like you are not where you need to be, and because of external factors, you just are never going to be able to live this certain life, then that's what you're going to notice. You're going to see the rejections as a huge, thing in your life that holds you back. You're going to really hyper focus on those things that make the story you tell yourself seem true. It's our brains that do this. So think about it this way. If you start to flood your mind with these new beliefs, like I am a magnetic, abundant person, I am meant for big things. That one belief that I know I'm meant for big things changed my entire life. Yeah. It's one belief that I had that I really listened to 10 years ago, and it put me on this path. I know I'm meant for big things, and I think everyone is in their own, whatever big means for you. Mm-hmm. And what's going to happen when you have these beliefs, that when you feel abundant, magnetic, like you are just the type of person that ... that creates your life. I am the type of person that lives a beautiful, abundant life full of love, health, happiness, abundance. I feel free. And that self-image comes from these beliefs and the repetition of the thoughts that you keep feeding yourself. So superhuman activations is like literally the tool that helps you reprogram your mind. And guess what? You don't even need to consciously listen to what the words are saying in these activations. You can just play them in the background of your life because your brain notices things without you even realizing. You're just feeding your brain information. And the more that you listen to new content that can change how you think and how you feel, the more your brain is going to change. It's neuroplasticity. Our brains can change. New neural pathways are going to be developed when you start thinking differently and absorbing new information in your life. And that is why this work is so deeply effective. It is science-based manifestation. And I can tell you something, Jenna, I definitely lean more on the pragmatic science side. But it's funny because this is the same thing spoken in many different languages. A scientist will call this quantum physics or the RAS or self-image psychology. An atheist will call this the placebo effect. A Christian might call this God or prayer. And a spiritualist will call this the law of attraction. The same thing remains. What you put out into the universe, when you deeply believe in something, it comes closer to you. It manifests into your life.
I love it. It's so interesting because I was thinking so much about just the power of it. And I also think that there was so much intentionality on your part in how you built out the app. And one of the things I was thinking about, because I was like, I would never want to create an app. It's so much work, all these different things. But one thing that I think is brilliant about how you did it is, again, you're kind of breaking those barriers of what so many people have believed when it comes to things like meditating, of like, okay, now I need to have 20 minutes a day. And you have literally given cues for people to incorporate your app into their day-to-day life. So instead of just saying, here's a 3-minute activation, you have named them for different stages of their day to remind people, like, you can invite this into your life in even the mundane moments. Was that always that way? Did that come to you? Because it's so smart, because the more people use the app, the more they're going to use the app. And that's how you keep people on a platform, which I can imagine that people, once they start, they stay on it. But you are also giving these cues of like, invite these activations into some of these places in your life where you might not have even considered.
Yes, absolutely. Well, we created the different categories, and we have over 15 categories on the app. We created that initially just to help guide users, to help them understand the concept, because it is a new concept. This is a new form of audio. It doesn't exist anywhere else. So yes, it was really to guide the user. And yes, the more people use the app, the more they want to use it, because they notice the changes. With superhuman activations, like, you feel different right away. It's very unique. So, that's what we noticed. And we are very lucky as well that this company was built from a product first perspective. The only reason we've blown up is because there's incredible product market fit. People need this. Like, a lot of people do not resonate with meditation, but want something easy to listen to feel different. And this is that for them. So we have very low churn rates, which is the rate at which people unsubscribe. We have a money back guarantee because we're so damn confident in how transformative this content is. And we see every single day, like, our daily active users, it's like 30% of people that have the app use it every single day, which is insane numbers. So, and like, all of the business metrics show that the product is very good, which is, I'm so proud of that, because as a businesswoman, I didn't really set out to create this app to become a millionaire. Like, I set out to create this app because I was using these audios for myself, and I'm like, why doesn't this exist?
Yeah.
And the app didn't start with me spending $250,000 on app developers. Like, the app started with like an online subscription platform that cost $500 a month that I added the content to see if people even liked it. So from a business perspective, I really went slow and steady, and I really did my market research before. And then the results from that initial subscription platform were insane. So I invested all the money I had made from that into app developers. Wow. I bootstrapped the entire business myself. We have a small, but very great team. I'm doing things quite differently to a traditional tech company. Usually tech companies will raise tens of millions of dollars and, just become slaves to their VC, investors. And I've tried doing things a different way because I don't want the product to change and be commercialized. Like, it's such a soulful product. Yeah. The audios have you feel the soulfulness. And I am so obsessed with the content being to a certain standard, because we're talking about people transforming their lives here. If it's not good enough, then people are going to be less motivated to actually use it and change. So the quality of the content is deeply, deeply, deeply important to me. So I work with my audio engineers literally looking at every second of an activation. Especially the walking activations, that's my favorite category. Like, I just love going on a long walk and listening to an activation. It makes me feel very different. With those, I write those when I'm on the treadmill. So I'm on this like wavelength of movement, of moving forward. And then I'll pick the content of the music with my audio engineers, and we'll literally record it to the beat, where it's like before this big drop in the song, you say something like incredibly powerful, and then it makes this user have this different experience. So I always knew the power of music. I was always the type of person that, like, if a very beautiful, powerful moment in like the bridge of my favorite song came up, I just like loved how it made me feel. Yeah. And manifestation is all about how you feel, like we were talking about at the beginning of the episode. So if I feel different, my life changes. The words used in these activations, this guided visualization, affirmation, motivational mix, paired with deeply powerful music, this cinematic, moving forward type of energy music, it's game changing. And we have over 600 activations on the app, 15 different categories. We even have seated ones if you want more of a targeted meditation-like experience that is not as calm but more motivational. Yeah. And then we have getting ready in the morning anytime. So when you're, showering or driving, whatever you want. And then we have mini pep talks, and then we have cooking, cleaning, legs up wall, like travel, writing, guided journaling. We have literally an activation for every moment. So there is no excuse to not get it in. And you'll notice, the last thing I'll say on this, when I used to tell myself I need to meditate, I'd put it on my to-do list in the morning. Yep. Okay, do my meditation. Half the time I'd never actually do it. Yep. And it would remain unchecked. With activations, I never need to write it down to do it, because it's just like having your morning coffee. You're not going to put it on your to-do list. You want to have it, Yes. With activations, you want to do it. So it doesn't even feel hard, which is the best part.
Yes. Oh my gosh. I love that. You have this awesome 2-step formula to transformation. Can we dive a little bit into that? I think this would be so powerful for people to start to see the power and how easy it can be to truly start to experience change.
Absolutely. So my whole thing is simplifying, because again, I'm the kind of person that I was overwhelmed by what everyone was telling me to do to change my life. It is so much more simple than you think. There's 2 steps. The first step is clarity. The second step is becoming. So let's talk about that. Clarity. You must first know who your future self is, what you actually desire in your future, before ever taking a step to get there. Because without clarity, you have nothing. So you need to get crystal clear on what you want, what your days should look like, the future that you can envision. And when you do this, you need to understand that you got to think big, because you actually are fully the creator of your life. And if you want big, you can get big. So think big. If you could have absolutely anything in your life, if you could live any type of existence, what would it be? Describe it in detail, and then describe what it would feel like to have those things in reality. And then once you get that, that's your future self frequency. It's just an energetic set point, how you feel internally. And once you have clarity on that, then you can move over to step 2, which is becoming. Become that version of you in everyday moments. Become that version of you in the mundane every day. Start to hold yourself like that person. Your posture. Start dressing like that person. Start doing your hair like that person. Mm-hmm. Start speaking like that person. Start embodying the energy of that person. And soon you will get there. It's hacking the system. When you embody the energy of your future, it makes doing the hard things easy. I used to tell myself that I didn't like working out, okay? And then I changed my self-image, and now I enjoy working out. I have my trainer 4 days a week now. I want to work out with him all the time. I'm so excited. I have reframed. I've now become the kind of person who likes to work out. And the same thing is, this is how I also healed my disordered eating. I used to be obsessed with thinking about food all day, thinking about my body image all day. And then I was like, that's not aligned with my future self. So I thought, what's my future self like? Maybe she's the kind of person that can just kind of eat whatever when she's hungry and love her body and treat herself whenever she wants to and not think about calories and just like enjoy her life. So I started embodying that, and soon enough it happened. And I now look back, I'm like, wow, I can't believe I used to live that way and just obsess every day around food and my body. So it's like hacking the system. If you want to become a runner and run long distance, the hard thing to do is to have the exact same self-image that you have today, and every morning wake up early with your alarm and like try to put your running shoes on and hate the whole process. Okay. The easy way would be doing the mental work first, using mental rehearsal, changing your belief system, and then it gets easier and easier the more you do it. So I like doing things in the most effortless way possible. I've always tried to find, shortcuts in every area of my life. I like doing things differently and finding ways that haven't, an optimized route, right?
Yeah.
And this is absolutely the best discovery that I've ever made.
Yes. Oh my gosh. I love this. There's a story in my book about how when we were trying to grow our family and we had experienced 2 losses, and I had sat down and it basically was an activation with one of my friends. We didn't have that word at the time. But she was saying, like envision your most vibrant self. Like, what are you wearing? Like put your toes into her toe slots and your fingers into your finger slots. And it was my friend, Erin Trelaw, and she like led me through this thing. And I remember when I opened my eyes, I just had like tears streaming down my cheeks because in that vision, like I had on like a nice top, I had on a white linen top and Madewell jeans. And I looked down and I was like wearing like a t-shirt from college and like crappy yoga pants. And I was like, in that vision, I'd envisioned having this little baby girl in this Persian rug and eating pancakes. But I was like, I can't necessarily have a baby today, but I can go put on a pair of jeans and like start dressing the part. And it was just this huge realization of like, so often we almost like reserve this future version of ourselves and we're not willing to do any of the work until she arrives. And it's like, she is not going to arrive. Like you have to create her, right? And it was just such an interesting moment of this realization of like, I'm picturing this entirely different life, but I'm not even controlling the controllables that I can right now today. And so I love how you're talking about this because it's like once you get clarity on that, put on the jeans, go get the shirt, like start dressing the part so that when those things come into your life, 1, you're awake to them, but 2, you're ready for them. Like I wouldn't have been ready for those blessings in that moment. And so I love this idea because I do believe like what you think you become. And it's so huge and it's a way to hack it. It's so easy. It's not actually that hard. And especially when you can be guided through the process and bring it into your everyday life, like there are no excuses.
Yeah. Yeah. You're spot on. And it's the most exciting thing in the world to have this belief system of I'm 100% responsible for my life. I can create whatever I desire. Yeah. It's exciting. You live life in a different way when you feel this aliveness. We live in an age where we're so distracted all the time. We're so numb. Technology makes us numb. Overworking makes us numb. Living this type of life, drinking, whatever it is, it makes us numb. And my biggest thing is I want to feel the most alive as I can. And what makes me feel alive? Not being on my phone, being in nature, listening to activations, listening to music that makes me feel like I'm unlimited. And I want to do more of that. That's the type of life that I want to live. And I don't know about you, but my biggest regret is waking up one morning in my old age full of regret. That's my biggest, or not my, sorry, I'm going to say that again.
Yeah.
My biggest fear is waking up one morning when I'm in my old age and looking back on my life with regret. I want to live my life to its fullest. And this is why I do this work, because I'm so connected with the fact that I only get this life once. I only get one shot at this thing. Why waste it not becoming my potential, not putting the work in to truly step into who I can become, the version of me that can help as many people in the world, that can live an amazing big life full of abundance, that can help my family, and that can do all these big things that I've always deeply wanted. It's like, you have one shot at this thing. Why waste it?
Oh, Mimi, I am so grateful that you leaned into all of this in your life. And I'm also just grateful to be a recipient of all of your hard work. It has been so awesome to just get to experience it and to just like really lean into this new way. I think especially for women, it just makes so much sense. And it's something that is exciting and so approachable in bringing into your life. So like, I am just a raving fan. Where can everybody find out more about you? Get on Superhuman, learn more, give me all of the places.
Absolutely. So I know we have a special offer for your audience. If you guys want to go to activations.com/goal digger, you guys can get over 60% off a membership. Ooh. And you can get a 14-day free trial, money back guarantee. It is very, very low risk to try. We wanted to make sure we did an extended free trial for all of our users because we want to show you that this is something that can change your life. We want you to actually feel the difference before ever committing to pay. We are so confident in the product. So if you head to activations.com/goal digger, you can get Jenna's special discount of over 60% off. You can only get this discount on the website because on the App Store, they don't allow discounts. So get it on the website and then go download the app afterwards. And if you want to check me out, I'm on Instagram at Mimi Bouchard. I'm also on YouTube. I have my team post for me on there. But yeah, I'm so grateful for this opportunity, Jenna. Thank you so much. And you guys should go get your 2-week free trial and over 60% off at activations.com/goal digger.
Can I just say how confident they are in their business model to be offering that? I just have to say, like, clearly there is proof in the pudding with this. So make sure you go check that out. I have one special request, Mimi. Would you be willing to let me air little pep talk so that our listeners can, one, walk away from this episode hearing what an activation is like, but also to just kind of feel the inspiration that I get to feel when I tune in on the app?
Absolutely. We can give you guys a free 2-3 minute pep talk. That the pep talks are the category of ours that we have like short motivational little boosts. So every category is slightly, I'll do that again. Good. Every category is slightly different. So these pep talks are just motivational 2-minute, 3-minute boosts. So I'll find one of my favorite ones on the app and I'll let you guys play it at the end of this episode.
Awesome. Make sure you go check it out at activations.com/goal digger. We are about to play you a pep talk. Mimi, thank you so much for coming on the podcast today. And thank you so much for creating Superhuman.
Thank you, Jenna.
Hey, thank you so much for watching this episode of the Goal Digger podcast. I'm so happy you're here. And to make sure you don't miss any future episodes, make sure you're subscribed to the show. And if you loved today's episode, which I hope you did, check out this one next. I think you're going to love this video too. You're tired of working so hard every single day only to rest your head at the end of it and wonder, what did I actually get accomplished? This episode is for you. I did my first podcast episode on this topic way back in 2018. So it is safe to say that this is a tried and true technique in my world that I have leaned on over the years. But let me tell you, this